guys, welcome back to my channel. So I went to see Audition at the movie theater the other day, and I couldn't help thinking that isn't she kind of like the OG Barbie? Okay, hear me out. Okay, so to me, the way I interpreted Barbie, right, was that it's this feminist movie that kind of opposes a fully matriarchal society and a fully patriarchal society, and the argument being you can't really have it black or white anymore because our society is so gray. And to me, like, the main scene of the movie is when Barbie's at the bus stop and she sees the old lady and she's like, "Oh, you're so pretty," and the old lady's like, "I know," which to me was like the most scene, you know. I'm not gonna go into whether I like my full thoughts on Barbie, but that's like the main idea I got and is relevant to my point. So Audition, if you haven't seen it, first of all, is a total 10 out of 10 movie. I definitely recommend it. So Audition is a psychological thriller from the 90s by Takashi Miike. So it takes place in 1990 or in the 90s in Tokyo, right? And so back then society was really like, it was patriarchal, it was very objectifying of women. At the same time, it's very like on the up and up in terms of business wise and like a lot of economic growth and etc. Right? So that's like the situation. So we follow this guy who's a producer, and his wife passed away 7 years ago, so he's been just living with his son since. And the movie starts when he's finally ready to start dating again. But in his words, women are just like not quality anymore, right? Because they're like, they just want a rich guy. They have no substance anymore. They don't know tradition and blah 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 and whatever. So like obviously, and so he's like, "Hey, friend of mine, can you help me find a quality woman? Because I want to get married again." So his friend of his, who's a movie, or not a producer, sorry, he's a director. He's like, "Okay, let's set up this fake audition, and we're going to audition women, and we're going to tell them it's for a role, but actually it's for you." So they do the auditions, and the guy falls head over heels for this woman named Asami. And dude, she is portrayed as like the perfect woman, but boy, is she a total psycho. That's kind of like the synopsis of the movie. So naturally from here on out, spoiler alert. So the reason I say this movie really reminded me of Barbie is because from the get-go, she's portrayed as this perfect woman, right? And she's perfect for him. She's very well-mannered. She's very intelligent. She listens to him. She's very like everything that a perfect woman from the like macho dude criteria list. She is all that. But also what's really interesting is that she only exists in the movie at two moments, right? Either she's with him, in which case she's like perfect, or she's at home waiting for him to call her. And so she's, you know, if you've seen the movie, she's like in her little studio room. She has her body in her bag. She has her phone on the floor, and then there's her, and there's nothing else in the apartment, and she's just sitting there on her knees or her shins or whatever you want to call it, and she's just there, very much like a robot actually. And it's like women in this movie are portrayed as we don't exist unless it's for a guy or through a guy's vision or idea of us anyway, which I thought was really interesting. So naturally the movie gets dark, right? And the guy finds out she murdered her previous dude, and he's the guy in her little burlap bag at home. And it's really interesting because he seems to be unable to understand that a woman can like not be perfect, or like, I don't know. It's like he's like, I don't know, if I find out that my guy murdered someone, I'm like, all right, bye. Like, I'm not gonna keep looking for clues, or I don't know. Anyway, it's interesting because when she comes to his apartment for that torture session, she kind of like goes on this feminist spiel. And honestly, I thought she did it way better than Barbie. But she's very much like, oh, you know, women in society have to endure, like, we endure guys like you who want us to be a certain way, who expect us to be a certain way, and like, we don't exist if not through your eyes, basically. And honestly, I found that the torture scene kind of comical, like the way she so nonchalantly tortures him. It was very ASMR, first of all. When was the last time you watched a torture scene in ASMR mode? Like, honestly. And then the way she just like randomly throws his foot and it hits the window, like, best torture scene ever. What I find most interesting is the blur around Asami's character, right? Like, we don't really know where she's from, how she became the way she is. Like, we really don't barely know anything about her, right? Other than she used to be a dancer at the studio, and then she had this other dude that she carries around in a burlap bag, and then this guy. But what I find interesting is that it's implied, right, that she had to become the way, well, she became the way she did because of men, and it was her way of either complying, if you will, to how men want women to be in society, or rebelling against it. It's very much like there's two ways you can go as a woman, right? Like, either you are the perfect person or you're a total monster based on how men want you to be. But it's interesting because, like, it's kind of open to interpretation, right? And so that is my favorite thing about this movie, actually, is that it's really open to interpretation. Unlike the Barbie movie, which is very much like, this is how the way it is. Complete side rant. Have you noticed? Has anyone noticed that movies overall are getting worse? Yeah, my problem with newer movies that they're too literal, right? I really need more movies like Audition that leave 20 different ways to interpret the message. So anyway, you can also just watch it as like a horror movie of this girl like cutting up her dude. Which, side note, the only other, or it's not really a movie, but the only other fictional serial killer I can think of that is so blasé about murder and torture and whatever is Dexter. I was talking about it with my friend who I saw the movie with, and I'm like, listen, I can't, like, the way she just chopped up his body, well, not chopped up, but like she was torturing him, she's just emotionless. She's laughing. She's doing it as if she was baking muffins, basically, right? And I'm like, I can't really think of any other character that's that chill, basically. She's very much like one of those, like, or maybe not Hannibal Lecter. Hannibal Lecter is different because he's like really enjoying it, and she's just doing it as if she's like putting her water in the soda stream, right? She's just like, whatever. And yeah, she just kind of reminds me of Dexter, and I can't even think of anyone else aside from her and Dexter. If you can, I'd love to know. Anyway, so that's why, I don't know, I just think Audition is a way better Barbie movie. That's all I gotta say. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that down below. Like the video if you did, subscribe. See you guys next time. Bye!